Hi there. I'm Brad Rudin, Agronomy Tech Services Manager with Agtegra Cooperative, here to ask you a simple question today. Got yield? Agtegra has a program this year called Yield Enhancing Products from Agtegra Cooperative, or YEP, and it's a great initiative of products that Agtegra has tested and vetted in our product testing right here in the state of South Dakota. And we have faith in these products that together as a system, these products will enhance your yield on your farm. And we want to talk about that today. So it's a 2023 update with some of the results from our product technology plots in 2022 about this group of products that we called YEP products in 2023 as we approach this very busy season. If we look at corn out there as our crop that we're primarily focused on, but also on soybeans here, we can break that season apart into some different phases of development. I've often used this thing called a factory analogy, if you will, that our crop and our soil together are working like this great big factory out in our fields. And we have to have everything efficient with this factory, from the production system, the plants, the supply chain, which comes from what we add and from our soils, to the energy moving around the system. Everything needs to work together in this factory to produce high yields, the output that we want at the end of the season. And all of these products in this yield enhancing program, these yield enhancing products, YEP products from Agtegra Cooperative, fit into some place of this factory analogy. So if we take corn, for example, on the screen here, we start out right now at this time of the year with laying that foundation, whether that's proper fertility, whether it's planter spacing, all the things that we can add in furrow. And you fit that in furrow market extremely well to lay that foundation to get uniform emergence, early season plant vigor, big roots, big plants, root development, to be able to lay that foundation for the season. Then we move on into the season as we get to our post-emerge timing, and we're doing things like herbicides, where we're developing that young corn plant in this case. So like at V5 to V7, we're setting that maximum number of rows. What can we do to reduce stress in that corn crop at that time of the year? If we can, we'll enhance yield. We have products that fit that market. V10 to V12 is when we're getting the potential kernels per row. And then you move to phase 3, we get to tassel timing. It's all about energy management, stress management there, where we're maximizing the ear set, maximizing the size of those kernels, all the fill for the year at the end of the year. If we look at soybeans, on the other hand, it would be something like getting us number of plants established out in the field, setting our maximum number of nodes, setting our maximum number of pods with pod set, our seeds per pod, and our seed size. That's what develops yield. We could look at something similar for wheat as well. So it is a production system, and there's an intertwined set of inputs that go into producing maximum yield. And that's really what we want to look at from Agtegra Cooperative, yield enhancing products for 2023. We'll go through this list, and in some of the later videos, we'll talk about specific products in these to fit into a production system. The very first part about it is protecting one of our largest inputs, things like protecting nitrogen out there. When we apply nitrogen to corn, especially, we're putting a lot of nutrients out there at the beginning of this season, and we need to protect that nitrogen to make sure it's available. We have products from Agtegra called Remain or Brazen, which are nitrogen stabilizers. We'll get into specifics of those in another video. We have great quality starter fertilizers for your corn, for your soybeans, to be able to get them out of the ground. Things like A723 or 820 are manufactured within Agtegra Cooperative and provide great quality nutrition for your crops that are growing out there. Of course, we carry the commodity fertilizers, things like 1034 and UAN as well. But really, these two starters are specific for Agtegra, and they're very, very good products to be able to use to get crops off to a fast start. What about nutrient availability? Well, if we're going to use a starter, a high quality starter, we have to be able to make sure the nutrients are efficiently flowing from the soil into the plant. We have a proprietary additive called SyncRx that I hope you've had a chance to visit with your agronomist about. If you haven't, contact contact your local Agtegra agronomist, and they'll tell you more about that particular product called SyncRx. Really a nutrient transport shuttle, if you will, is the way I view it, and able to enhance nutrient uptake, especially early in that season where it's really critical for crops like corn. What about making everything bigger? Well, if we boost everything bigger with a product called Ascend Squared, one of our great partners is Winfield United. They have this product called Ascend Squared. It's a PGR. What do PGRs do? Well, they make the whole factory bigger. Bigger roots, bigger stems, bigger leaves, reduce, and then by putting all that together, we get a vision system, more potential top end yield, which is really what we need to maximize return on investment in the field, is really ultimately maximizing yield per acre. And that's really what that one's about. What about biological products? Well, they have a great fit. There's a pile of them on the market right now. One of the ones that we know works well is through a partner, Rosen's, produces a product called Foster. Foster is a broad spectrum biological product producing more nutrients going into this factory, working in this system, can provide the potential for top end yield throughout the growing season. And then the last thing we need to do is we need to make sure we finish strong. We need to protect the output that we've got going on. So we need to protect that factory. We need to be able to add things like a fungicide into a crop production system. Our great partner in this one is Bayer Crop Science with a product called Delaro. We believe in Delaro on corn and on soybeans. We think it really adds to that production system because I feel that late in the season, we have really added a lot of yield in recent years at the end of that season. That involves reducing stress, reducing diseases, and that's really where Delaro fits in as a fungicide, along with great crop nutrition. We have great foliar nutrition products called N-Fuse or N-Zorb. Those are nitrogen sources for us that we can apply on the foliar side. N-Fuse also has a good micronutrient package built into it. But we also have micronutrients that can serve our customers throughout the entire year. Things like Microsol, which is specific for the dicamba system in soybeans, can provide that boost of micronutrients that are needed to be able to help our crops off to a good start. But you notice this is a system. All six components in here that you see are all part of this system. And there are products that are these yield enhancing products that fit into every phase of this throughout this production system. And we really do want to look at this as a production system. How did we test this? Well, I went out and did a series of plots out here called the mission and the deletion plots, where we put this whole systems idea together. We put an entire system with every one of these components in it. Then we start taking things away, or we add these components in one at a time on the other side of the study to be able to see what do these products add. And what we found was quite simple. For corn or for soybeans, there is a production system of interrelated inputs. And that's really the key thing that we need to talk about. All of these products together synergize each other, and that results in maximum yield. But it is an intentional, complete production system. It has to be intentional management to add all the components together, because the maximum yield came when we put all of these components together in the system. Removing any single input caused a reduction in gross and net return. And the single inputs, although they added net return on each individual component, there were significant interactions where we found if we put them together in an intentional, complete system, that we got our maximum yield. And that's really what we're looking at for Agtegra Cooperative in 2023. And we asked that question, you got yield? Well, yep, we do, by putting yield enhancing products from Agtegra Cooperative into a complete production system to maximize yield, which maximizes net return, or gross return, which maximizes net return. And that's ROI for you as our customers throughout 2023. Visit with your local Agtegra agronomist about yield enhancing products for the entire 2023 season.